Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is how Justice Neil Gorsuch, took Chevron Deference, the bane of our existence in the 2A world, and backhanded it so far it would go over a football field because he hit on how it discriminates against the individuals. This is in a Supreme Court hearing around Chevron Deference. This is an amazing piece. We got a lot of stuff coming. If you guys watch the live stream today, you guys know what this is about. Everything, it will be linked in the description box below. And of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And this content is brought to you by American Hartford Gold. And the content today is brought to you by American Hartford Gold. And brothers and sisters, with everything popping off around the world, wars cracking off, we've got inflation issues, we've got stock market volatility, we have cash concerns, we have oil concerns. It's a good time to take a look and at least know your options with American Hartford Gold. They are dedicated to offering gold, silver, platinum, coins, and bars for your investing needs. Whether you want to do it delivered to your door or you want an IRA, Roth IRA, 401k, TSP, they've got options. This is something you guys should check out. At American Hartford Gold, they aim to educate clients about investments in the precious metal industry, strive to provide unparalleled customer service built on trust, integrity, and absolute transparency, while holding a goal of achieving 100% customer satisfaction. Click the link in the description or call 844-727-3199. That's 844-727-3199 or text Langley to 65532. Again, that's 844-727-3199 or text Langley to 65532. All right, we've got some stuff to get into, my beautiful people, because Justice Gorsuch, who clearly has a bone to pick with Chevron Deference. If you were on the 3.5-hour live stream today, you would have picked it up as well. But if you didn't, I've selected out 3 little clips that I think are incredibly important. He goes after Chevron Deference, which is the way that executive bureaucracies basically say, yeah, Congress didn't say that, but for our interpretation, this is the new law. They make it up out of whole cloth. Well, Gorsuch had some interesting things to say. I've got a lot more coming after this, but right now, let me show you what he said and how it exploits the individual. Check this out.
I think there are a couple of different ways to come at that concern. One is to emphasize again that if it's not just that in the exercise of discretion, the court would think something is fairer and fill the gap that way, but rather the court thinks actually the reason it's fairer is because I have a sense that Congress spoke to this. I can determine it based on all of the tools. You can resolve that. It's step one.
That doesn't work, though, because you've said that it doesn't matter whether Congress actually thought about it. And that,
yes.
And that there are many instances where Congress didn't think about it. And in every one of those, Chevron is exploited against the individual and in favor of the government.
I don't think it's fair to treat that as an exploitation. Congress has been aware of the rules here. It could change Chevron at any time. It could displace it if it thinks that it's being used in these circumstances where it's not warranted.
Well, the big joke is they're not going to change it because it's how they avoid accountability for their own actions, how they stay in power with no hard votes and no hard anything. That's how they do it. So they're not going to get rid of it. That's a game that the government plays, to be quite honest with you. But Gorsuch said something very important. Every single time, it exploits the individual at the behest of the government. This is a sitting Supreme Court justice. All right, I got 2 more clips for you. All right, so that's the first one. Let me show you the second one because it only ramps up in intensity. This is clearly something important to him. Check this out.
And it seems to me that it's arguable, and certainly the other side makes this argument powerfully, that Chevron has this disparate impact on different classes of persons. And I wanted to give you a chance to respond to that.
Sure, and I have a couple of different reactions to that. One is to say that I, of course, acknowledge that the way that Chevron operates, it gives effect to agency interpretations, even in circumstances where that might be oppositional to some of the categories of individuals that you're identifying. But if it does that in accordance with Congress's intent and wishes, because even my friend agrees that there are certain delegations that Congress can make to agencies and certain gap filling that agencies can do, at least with the broad and capacious terms. And at that point, it's just putting into effect what Congress decided. So I don't think that there is any kind of fundamental flaw in giving effect to Congress's statutes in that regard.
Left open the possibility that a judge, if left to his own devices, would say the fairest ruling is in favor of the immigrant, it's in favor of the veteran, and it's in favor of the Social Security disability applicant. but because of a fictionalized statement about what Congress wanted when it didn't think about the problem. The government always wins.
Well, I think there are.
How powerful is that? How relatable is that? Against the immigrant, against the veteran, against the Social Security individual. All of these things that Congress just didn't think about because they weren't doing their job. Now the executive bureaucracy gets to win on behalf of the government, and the individual always loses. How close home does that hit? Think about it from the 2A perspective. Think about it from our everyday perspective. What we're seeing is an usurpation of Congress through the executive bureaucracies at the allowance of Congress because they don't want accountability because it makes votes hard. What we're seeing is the core root of the problem, and we've got more of that coming over the next few videos. This was one of the most powerful experiences that I've seen from the Supreme Court in a while because you usually don't see this type of targeted response coming out of a justice, all right? That was the second thing. Again, he's going to hit this whole individual thing, different class of people one more time. Check this out.
Chevron, you emphasize, is value neutral, and it'll sometimes favor industries that are regulated and sometimes favor the government. And I can certainly see that in scenarios where we talk about the flip-flop of administrations and new people come in and replace others, and there's a lot of movement from industry in and out of those agencies. I think George Stigler talked about regulatory capture. And I don't worry in a Chevron regime about those people. They can take care of themselves. Okay, there is political accountability, fine. The cases that I saw routinely on the courts of appeals, and I think this is what niggles at so many of the lower court judges, are the immigrant, the veteran seeking his benefits, the Social Security disability applicant, who have no power to influence agencies, who will never capture them, and whose interests are not the sorts of things on which people vote, generally speaking. And there Chevron is almost always, and in fact I didn't see a case cited, perhaps I missed one, where Chevron wound up benefiting those kinds of peoples.
How powerful is that? He's leveraging his own personal experience and saying that he's never seen a Chevron case benefit the individual, the veteran, the security pensioner, or the immigrant. Any of those things, the fundamentals of our country are being ignored because Chevron deference always goes to the government, always goes to the executive bureaucracy. His own experience, he never saw that. What does that tell you? And for him to be saying this as a sitting justice, hearing about Chevron deference, where do you think this is going to go? And this is just one justice. We got a lot more stuff I'm going to break down, and I can't wait to hear what you guys think. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.